Okay, good morning. Welcome to our weekly live. It's morning here in Canada. I hope you're having a good day wherever you are in the world, and thank you for joining for this practice. We meet every Thursday at this time for a live class, and the class remains available on our Facebook page for as long as you need it. You can just search weekly live classes and you'll see a whole bunch of previous classes that we've done. Or you could also go onto the Your Yoga Flow YouTube channel and you will see all the classes there, as well as all the student development classes and some of the Meet the Student testimonials. So today's practice is going to be a yin class for grounding our energy. Right now we are diving into spring and doing all of the work involved with this season, including clearing out, making space, saying yes, feeling more energized perhaps, being outdoors more, being more active. So with that said, that's only going to continue as we move forth into the summer season. These are the yes seasons. These are the doing seasons. These are the seasons where we have more energy potentially. But with that, we also need to be mindful that we are not burning out, we are not depleting our resources, and that we can remain steady and grounded throughout this time of year. So that's why I've created this practice today, is so that we can remain in that place of balance and steadiness, and we can remind ourselves that we don't always have to be moving at such a fast pace. We don't always have to say yes to everything, and that there is always value and importance in slowing down and going inward. So for today's class, we will need lots of props because it is a yin class. So I have the big bolster on my mat today and a blanket. And then in the corner here, I have a couple of blocks, and the bottom one is a chip foam block. So maybe you want to grab all those things. If you don't have all those things, you can makeshift at home with cushions off the couch or off the bed. You can use clothing instead of a blanket. You can use thick books instead of blocks. So just find what you have available and bring it to your mat. And then we will begin. Today's class will begin in child's pose, Balasana. So I will meet you there, and I'll give you an option to incorporate your props into this Balasana. So if you'd like to add in props, you're going to place firstly the blanket on the floor where your knees are going to be, so that you have a bit of extra padding under the knees. And then you're going to set up two blocks in front of you, one in front of the other with a gap between the two. You have those blocks on their lowest height. And then place your bolster on top of the blocks, so it is elevated. You can see that gap in between. I'm just going to move my blanket a little closer to the edge of those blocks. From here, you're going to widen the knees, and then I am just going to slide this bolster and blocks as close towards me as I can. And then I'm going to lift my belly, ribs, and one ear onto the blocks and bolster. So you're giving the weight of your torso into the support of the bolster. Option to have your arms bent with your forearms resting on the floor. Option to slide your arms in between those two blocks, so you're gently hugging the bolster, but also relaxing your arms into the floor. You can have one ear to the mat, to your bolster for a few breaths, and then you can turn your head the other way. If this setup is not for you, then coming into a more traditional child's pose, Maybe you still keep the blanket under your knees, but maybe you're lowering your forehead and chest down to the mat. You might put your forehead on a block if it doesn't feel great to have your head lower than your heart. Feel free to add in a block there and have the elbows bent. If it feels good to have your head to the floor, you might experiment with your arms. So you might let your arms get a little wider and longer and see if that feels good through your shoulders. You might play with coming up onto your fingertips and seeing if that feels good for the shoulders and arms as well. We're basically setting up an opening shape that is setting the tone, the mood, the bar for our practice. So you're wanting to drop straight on into this sense of grounding and slowing down. And child's pose is such a humbling shape to come into, and the body can respond in the appropriate way, because what we're doing here is we're letting the vital organs of the front body relax and ground towards the floor. The belly is hanging between the space of the inner thighs. Bless me. And the back of our body is this protective shell. It is the protection, the shield that looks after all these vital organs in the front spaces of the body. And the body knows this. So when we come to face down on the floor, the body responds in It knows that we are safe and we are protected and we can settle. So as you start to let your body find Balasana, you may just enjoy receiving a couple of slow breaths. So all together here, let's take a nice big inhale through the nose and a cleansing exhale from the mouth. And again, inhale through the nose and out through the mouth. And one more time, in and out. And just notice how the impact of those 3 breaths has upon your body. You might enjoy using mantra to help with this grounding process. Maybe you have a mantra that comes to mind. If you'd like a mantra today, I'll give you one. A mantra is just a very simple, short sentence that we can repeat over and over. It's usually something affirming and positive. So today's mantra is, I am here and settling. I am here and settling. If those words resonate with you, keep them on repeat over and over again during the practice. I am here and settling. If you find your mind wanders off during the class or you get lost somewhere, maybe the mantra can help you return back to your mat and back into your body. I am here and settling. Take another big inhale through your nose and out through your mouth. And let's just take another 3 rounds of breath here in Balasana. After you finish 3 breaths, start to press into your hands and lift your chest all the way up. If you have props underneath you, you'll want to remove them and place them to one side. And from here, we're going to come onto our hands and knees. And it might just feel good to just simply rock your hips side to side. You can have your toes tucked or untucked for this. It's just a little fluid movement before we come into our next yin shape. So just enjoying a little sway, maybe a gentle cat-cow, maybe some little circles with the hips. There's really no right or wrong way to do this. We're just moving from a place of instinct and knowing. We are massaging the hips and the back. And enjoying a couple of releasing breaths. From here, we're going to come all the way down onto our front body, stacking one hand on top of the other, untucking the toes, resting the forehead to the hands, and just checking that your legs are gently wide, not too wide, but not close together. Just a place where your legs and hips can relax. And you can just gently rock your hips side to side, rock your legs side to side, and exhale your breath. And then come all the way back to center. From here, we'll move into half frog pose. So we're going to slide our right knee up the side of our body towards our right armpit. You can rest your left ear to your hands, or you could put a cushion underneath that left ear if you prefer. Trying your best to keep the front of your pelvis facing down to the mat. Encouraging the glutes to relax. And starting to allow breath in and out of your lower belly. Maybe that breath you can feel rising and falling in the belly. And you can feel the belly making contact with the mat. All of this is helping the nervous system to soften and settle. And again, it's just allowing our physical body to get heavy and relaxed into the floor. When we talk about grounding, we often refer to the area of the root chakra, Muladhara. And this is this place at the base of the pelvis that is known as our home base, our stability, our grounding and support. And it was the first chakra that we were born with. In fact, it was developed in the womb. So when we are in need of grounding, when we are in need of slowing down and taking a bit of time for ourselves, one of the best things you can do is to connect your pelvis to the earth. Whether you're sitting or lying. And when that pelvis is connected to the earth, you might even start to visualize the red color, the red energy center, that vortex, that spinning wheel at the base of the pelvis, right, the tailbone. And you might repeat the mantra, I am here and settling. Let's take 5 more breaths. And after your 5 breaths, gently sliding your right leg down to meet your left leg. Returning your forehead to your hands and exhaling your breath. You might be still, or you might rock your legs and hips gently side to side. And as you're ready, we'll move to the other side. Your left knee sliding up the side of your body towards your left armpit. Your forehead can remain on your hands, or you might turn your head. So your right ear is to your hands or on a cushion. And again, just check in that you're not clenching in your glutes or in your legs. Your feet are relaxed. That the hip bones are facing down to your mat. And you can feel a gentle stretch into the inner leg line of the adductor, maybe into the pelvis. Returning back to that energy center of the root chakra, Muladhara. Perhaps you can even visualize physical roots growing from your pelvis down into the mat. And these roots are getting deeper and wider. Maybe these roots are even red in color, the color of this energy center. And these roots are absorbing all the grounding energy from the earth and bringing it back to your body, back to your pelvis. So just notice what that feels like as you settle deeper into the pose with soft breaths in and out of your lower belly. And let's take 5 more breaths. And then slowly sliding your left leg to meet your right. Returning your forehead to your hands, untucking your toes, maybe rocking your legs gently side to side. Take a nice big inhale and exhale. Let us walk our hands either side of our rib cage and press down into the mat. Come up into tabletop position. And then let us come around to a seat. In a seated position, we're going to come into Pashu Tanasana, seated forward fold. For this version, I invite you to slide a bolster underneath your legs so that we can make this slightly more restorative and slightly more grounding for the legs. Once you have the bolster or the rolled up blanket or cushion underneath your legs, widen your legs as wide as your mat and let the toes roll out naturally on their own. You can hinge forwards from your hips or you can remain sitting upright depending what feels good on your legs today. If you are hinging forwards, you can slide your hands down the fronts of your legs and begin to look at the space between your shins. It might feel good for some of you to bring your blocks in between your shins. You can stack the blocks at the highest height, one on top of the other, and rest your forehead to the blocks. Or if you need to go a little lower, just turn the top block onto its middle height and rest your forehead to it. Offering a shelf for the forehead is a wonderful way to give the neck a little rest from holding our head up all day. And having the forehead pressing into something can also be very grounding on the body. So here we are in a version of a forward fold. If this version is not for you, it doesn't feel good, or you want to take a more traditional version of the pose, feel free. You can remove as many of the props as you like and lengthen your legs down the mat. We're looking for a gentle release in the backs of the legs and the lower back and maybe up the length of the spine. Again, we're bringing the body into a fold, which creates that protective shell from the back and allows the vital organs to remain safe in the fold. As you draw your belly button towards your spine, you're also adding a massaging element to your digestive tract. We are also maintaining pelvis to the floor for grounding. Maybe it would feel nice here to take a clearing breath. So take a big inhale through your nose and exhale from the mouth. Settling in for time, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, leaning forwards with your heart space. And in yin, remember we are always adjusting and adapting to how the body is responding to the pose. So if the initial stretch subsides, know that you can make adjustments to your props and your body so that you can find the new stretch. The invitation from your body has come to dive in a little further. So make sure you respond and that you are never in a passive position. There is always activity, there is always length. You're always applying a gentle pressure, a gentle stress to the body in these shapes. That is where the growth and the space evolves. Let's take 5 more breaths. And then begin to slide your hands up your legs, roll up through your spine, remove the props that are either between your legs or under your legs or both. And now we're going to set up the props behind us. So for this one, you will need a block at the back of your mat, and then you're going to lie the bolster on top, so that you are on a gentle incline. And then option to fold your blanket and have it at the base of the bolster, just as a little pad for your pelvis. We're going to connect our left hip to the edge of the bolster. Our knees are bent and also pointing to the left. And then our hands come either side of the bolster. We're going to lower our belly once again onto the bolster, followed by the rib cage, followed by the left ear. Or if you prefer, you can turn your head and lower your right ear to the bolster. This all depends on your neck and back and how deep of a twist you want today. So find the appropriate fit for your body. And just check that your limbs are comfortable. You can adjust the position of your legs so that you are comfortable. You might adjust the position of the blanket so your knees are resting onto it. Finding comfort and letting your arms relax completely, so you aren't putting pressure or weight on the arms to keep you propped up. You're allowing your weight to drop into the bolster and into the block. If this does not serve you for any reason, you can always come onto your back and take a more traditional 2-knee twist on the floor, no problem. This is just another option, something a little different that might serve some bodies. It might provide a gentler back bend for some, whereas a reclined twist might be too much. And also it allows for that idea of giving the body into something, grounding the body into something. So let your body settle. It can be quite challenging. Our bodies, sometimes we resist or we just automatically go into holding. So this is a good exercise in surrender. If you're comfortable, close your eyes. And if you find your mind has wandered at all, then that's okay. Just gently return to your physical body resting here on the earth. Notice the shape you're in, notice the quality of breath. Maybe repeat your mantra, I am here and settling. And let's take 5 more breaths. And then open your eyes, press your hands into the mat, and slowly come all the way up. Take your time with this. And once you're upright, keeping your pelvis to the floor, come to face forwards and just sit in Sukhasana in a neutral tall seat for a breath or two. Finding that line from crown of head to tailbone. Take a nice big breath in. Smooth breath out. Between sides, let us just take a gentle side stretch. So float your right arm into the sky as you inhale, and then lean to the left, either keeping your left hand on your thigh or left hand on the floor. Just opening up that side body while relaxing your shoulders and your pelvis. Sweep your breath up and down your right side, and feel free to either look down, forwards, or up, depending what feels good on your head and neck. As a reminder, looking down can be very grounding. Looking up is more stimulating. So pick what works for you in this moment. Use your inhale to come all the way back up and place your hands to your legs. Take a big breath in. Big breath out. And inhale, left arm to the sky. Leaning to the right, right hand on thigh or the floor. Looking down, forwards or up. Let the breath move up and down the left side of your body. A few breaths. Use your inhale to come all the way back up. Exhale, hands to your thighs. Inhale, lift your shoulders. And exhale, roll your shoulders down your back. Let's come to the second side of our twist. So just simply shift your hips over to the right. Your right hip is connected to your bolster. Your knees are pointing to the right. Your 2 hands come onto the floor either side of the bolster. And we start to lower belly, then rib cage, and finally the head onto your props. Again, you might choose to rest the right ear, or you might turn your head and rest your left ear, depending on what feels good for your back, for your neck, for your breath. Check that your body is resting into your props and you're not holding yourself up on your arms. Ground your energy into the support beneath you. Take 5 more breaths in this twist. And then press your hands into the mat and slowly come all the way up and out of the twist. Take your time. And then return to facing forwards. And you have the option to remain with the props as they are for Shavasana. We're just going to lie directly down onto the props. Or you can remove the props, maybe you prefer the bolster under the knees. We're coming down nice and slowly. Make yourself as comfortable as you can, widening the legs and arms, and exhaling your breath. I am here and settling. I am here and settling. As you drift into Shavasana, let yourself have full permission for this rest, knowing that it is okay to slow down, to say no, to regroup your energy. I like to think of lying on the floor as a way to plug in and recharge our batteries. So those roots that we visualized earlier, growing deeper and wider into the floor, perhaps come back to that visualization now as you drift into your Shavasana. These roots are holding you, they are supporting you, they're helping you to feel more stable, more connected, while also your body is receiving the earth's nutrients, its wonderful grounding energies moving through every cell of your being. Knowing what to do now, I'll call you out of Shavasana when it's time. If you have more time to dedicate to your Shavasana today, then please stay exactly as you are. However, if it's time for you to come out now, start to add a little movement to your fingers and toes and into your wrists and ankles. You might enjoy a full body stretch here. And then maybe if you have props underneath your body, just place your feet to the floor. If you don't have props under your body, you might hug your knees to your chest. As you're ready, you can either roll to one side or lift yourself up directly. And eventually you'll make your way back to Sukhasana, a tall, comfortable seat, with the pelvis anchoring down and the crown of the head lifting tall. Observing how this practice has supported you, nourished you, grounded your energy. May we continue to make time and space for these types of practices, or any other practices that help you feel this connection to the earth and to yourself. And may these benefits you feel now serve you well as you step into the rest of your day. May you move from this place, may you make choices from this place. May others feel your energy and may it ripple out to them. Let's take one more sealing breath in through the nose, out through the mouth. Thank you so much for joining me. It's my pleasure to guide you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Namaste.